Yesterday was my younger brother Ted's wedding. My boyfriend Ian, who works as a lawyer, and I were preparing to head back to Seattle. Before checking out of the hotel, I opened my banking app to settle the bill, and the number staring back at me stopped me cold. Ian, my voice shook. What is it? My account. $8,400 is missing. Missing? What do you mean? Ian leaned over my shoulder to look at the screen. I pointed at the numbers, my hand trembling uncontrollably. Just last weekend, there had been over $10,000 in that account. Now only $1,600 remained. Ian's brow furrowed as he took my phone. He scrolled through the transaction history and froze. A series of transfers I didn't recognize. $2,000 to a credit card in my sister Amelia's. Name $4,000 to an account under her husband. Nicholas $2,400 to my mother. All of this had happened. The night before, while I'd been in the shower, I couldn't even form words. I didn't authorize any of these, I whispered. Someone's accessed your account, Ian said, his voice low, tight with anger. Anna, we need to call the bank right now. As we made our way down to the lobby, my phone rang. My mother. The timing felt wrong. Anna, thank you for everything yesterday. Ted was overjoyed, she said, her tone calm, casual. I tried to steady myself. Mom, I need to ask you something. Thousands of dollars were moved from my account yesterday. Do you know anything about it? There was a pause, then her bright laugh. Oh, that? Honestly, it was less than I expected. I froze. What do you mean? Amelia told me. She noticed you had more money than she thought, so we decided to share it. My mind went blank. Nicholas added smoothly. You always have money sitting around with no real use. Think of it as a wedding gift for Ted. Nothing personal. Ian noticed the disbelief in my expression and stepped closer. I put the call on speaker. Mom, that's theft, I said, my voice quivering. Oh, don't be so dramatic. We're family. You're always thinking only about yourself. You're single. You earn well. Helping your family is only natural. Ian snatched the phone. I'm Anna's boyfriend. What you did is illegal. Taking money from her account without consent is a crime. Oh, the lawyer, she sneered. Stay out of family business. I reclaimed the phone. Mom, how did you even access my account? I demanded. Amelia replied simply, I did it. And then the line went dead. We left the hotel and got into the car. Ian held my hand silently. Let's go to my parents' house, I said firmly. I want answers straight from them. 30 minutes later, we stood in front of my parents' home. Ian rested a hand on my shoulder. Stay calm. Don't let your emotions control you. I nodded and knocked. My father, Nicholas, opened the door. Oh, Anna, I thought you were already gone, he said. I walked directly into the living room. Amelia, Nicholas, and my mother were there. Nicholas still wore that irritatingly calm smile, the same one I had heard earlier when they had been laughing. Their conversation froze the moment I entered. How did you get into my account? I asked, my voice shaking. Amelia shrugged. In your hotel room while you were in the shower. Your password was obvious. You always use the same one. Why? My throat felt dry. Nicholas leaned back, casual. Because we needed the money. You live so comfortably on your own, and we have children to support. Anger surged inside me. Don't try to justify stealing. Anna, don't make such a scene, my mother said, in a tone that was supposed to soothe me. My father, still seated, flipped his newspaper. Keep it down, Ian stepped forward. Anna has supported all of you for years. She got Harry that expensive birthday gift. She bought Margaret a gaming console. Isn't that enough? Amelia scoffed. That's her responsibility, isn't it? She's single, no kids. We have bills to pay. Harry's lessons, Margaret's school. All of it costs money. Nicholas, still smiling, added, It's just a small portion of your wealth anyway. You earn plenty, don't you? A flood of memories hit me. The list of gifts Amelia sent for Harry's 10th birthday, even the cheapest item over $300. I had wanted to refuse, but my mother insisted, You can't leave your niece empty-handed. You're better off than the rest of us. And I had given in. Now it all looked different. I hadn't been generous. I had been exploited. I want it back. Every cent, now. Nicholas laughed. Impossible. It's gone. We used it for Ted's wedding gift, to cover some debts, and a bit of shopping. Shopping, I echoed, my head spinning. The smartwatch Nicholas wanted. The same one you were showing off, Amelia said. Showing off? That was a gift from Ian for my promotion. Something meaningful to me. You're overreacting, my mother said. We're family. Lending and borrowing money is natural. Ian's voice was firm. This is theft. My father finally looked up. Young lawyer, don't be dramatic. Don't drag the law into family matters. I froze. These were my family. The people I loved and trusted. And now I saw I had just been treated like an ATM. Anna, let's go, Ian said, placing a hand on my shoulder. There's no reason to stay. As we walked toward the door, Amelia called after us. Don't be mad. With your salary, you'll earn it back fast. We really needed the money more than you. When I glanced back, she looked entirely sincere. No guilt, no shame. As if I were selfish for protecting what was mine. Goodbye. Don't ever contact me again, I said. Once in the car, the tears came. How could a family be so heartless? I rested my forehead against the steering wheel, sobbing. Ian quietly rubbed my back. Anna, I wasn't exaggerating. This is a crime. What they did, illegal access, theft, it's criminal. But their family, that doesn't give them the right to hurt you, he said, his eyes solemn. If a stranger stole $400 from your account, you'd call the police. So why should it be okay just because they're family? If anything, family should protect and respect you. His words resonated. On the way back, we decided to stop by Ted's apartment. He was supposed to leave for his honeymoon but was still packing. When he opened the door, he looked exhausted. Anna, what's wrong? I thought you'd already left. What happened? He saw the seriousness on my face instantly. $8,400 was stolen from my account. Amelia, Nicholas, and Mom and Dad were involved. Ted's face went pale. What? While I was in the hotel shower? Yes. Amelia used my phone to transfer the money. Ted buried his face in his hands. No way. I knew Amelia and Nicholas had been obsessed with money lately, but I never imagined this. Mom and Dad told me not to worry. It was supposed to be a wedding gift for you, Ian murmured. Ted looked up, furious. I didn't know. I never asked them to do that. Anna, please believe me, I had no idea, he said. I do, Ted. I'm not blaming you, I said, touching his shoulder. What will you do? He asked nervously. I don't know yet, but I can't let this go. What they did was wrong, he said carefully. But, if possible, please don't do anything that will break up the family. I'm not the one who broke this family, I said. Coldly, Ted nodded, small and resigned. Anna, we should get going, Ian said, trying to diffuse the tension. Ted escorted us to the door, giving me an awkward hug. I'm really sorry. Wish there was more I could do. I patted his back gently. I didn't want to ruin your wedding. My wedding isn't as important as how you feel, Ted said, his eyes hesitant. He clearly wanted to protect me, but also maintain his ties to the rest of the family. Back at our apartment, we sat in silence for a long while. Ian was in the kitchen, making coffee, occasionally glancing at me. Feeling any calmer? He asked, handing me a mug. I nodded, my voice quivering. I can't believe that this actually happened. I never realized they were using me. Ian held my hand. You're kind because you trusted your family. But this time, it's different. They accessed your account without permission and stole from you. He paused thoughtfully. Anna, this is clearly a crime. You have the right to pursue legal action. You mean report them? My own family? Yes, they're the ones who did wrong, not you. The next morning, Ian left early to handle some matters, and I stayed home from work, spending the entire day in the apartment. In the afternoon, he returned carrying a large file. Look at this, he said, spreading it across the table. Materials on financial crimes, and a detailed guide on documenting unauthorized access. I consulted a colleague who specializes in financial crime, Ian explained. Family members exploiting single high-income earners happens more often than you'd think. I flipped through the documents. Is all of this really necessary? They're my family. Ian looked serious. Anna, what they did was criminal. If you do nothing now, it will happen again, and next time it could be even worse. I swallowed hard. So, what should I do? First, we collect evidence, he said. Bank statements, signs of unauthorized access, past transfer records. All of it. From that day on, I began reviewing my financial records for the past 3 years in detail. I sorted everything chronologically: bank statements, transfer records, emails, text. I sorted everything chronologically, messages. There's so much, I said in disbelief, opening the file. Just in the past year, the total amount I had sent or loaned to my family exceeded $15,000. The list went on and on. This isn't normal, I said as I looked at the list. This is one-sided exploitation. Another thing I noticed was the pattern in how they asked for money. They would start with sweet words, and when I hesitated, they'd say things like, "We're family," or "You're more fortunate than us," to make me feel guilty. And finally, they would end with blame. "You're selfish. It's mind control." Over the weekend, Ian brought over a lawyer friend. Her name was Sonia, and she specialized in financial crime. Anna, this is a clear case of financial abuse. Just because they're family doesn't make it acceptable. But think about it. If this were about Ian and a stranger had stolen $8,400 from his account, what would you tell him? I'd tell him to report it to the police. And what if it were a crime parents or siblings? I fell silent. A crime is a crime, Sonia said. Being family doesn't mean they get a free pass. In fact, because they're family, it's an even deeper betrayal. Her words pierced my heart. Ian spoke quietly. Anna, I'll support whatever decision you make, but you're not alone. We're in this together. Because I love my family, I have to stop their behavior. They don't respect me. They ignore my feelings and have betrayed my trust. I made up my mind. Ian, let's do it. I'll report this to the Financial Crimes Division. He exhaled with relief. You're making the right choice. You're making the right choice, Anna. We scheduled an appointment with the Financial Crimes Division. The officer in charge was a woman named Taylor, Ms. Moore. Please tell me the full situation, she said. I began explaining in a trembling voice what happened on the night of the wedding. The $8,400 that vanished from my account, my family's reaction, and the pattern of exploitation over the last 3 years. Taylor listened quietly, occasionally taking notes. Ian sat beside me, adding technical explanations when needed. Do you have any evidence? Taylor asked. Ian handed over a prepared folder. Bank records, evidence of unauthorized access, patterns of previous transfers, emails and text message conversations. After thoroughly, do you have any evidence reviewing the contents? Taylor looked up Ms. Moore. This is clear evidence of financial crime. There are signs of unauthorized access, theft, and possibly long-term financial abuse. What happens next? I asked nervously. First, we'll begin a preliminary investigation that includes interviews with involved parties, gathering further evidence, and verifying the legal criteria for the crime. If enough, will they be arrested, evidence is found. We'll forward the case to the prosecutor. I took a deep breath. Will they be arrested? It depends on the circumstances. However, actions such as freezing accounts or seizing assets may be taken. The reality of the situation began to sink in. My own family might face legal consequences. Are you having doubts? Taylor asked gently. I shook my head. No, it's just they're my family. Ms. Moore, she said seriously, one of the most common cases we handle involves financial crimes committed by family or close relations. You are a victim. Please don't blame yourself. Those words felt like something inside me had been released. I was a victim, and victims have the right to the next morning seek justice. Please proceed with the investigation, I said with resolve. The next morning, my phone was flooded with text messages and missed calls, all from my family. The first message was from Amelia. Anna, did you really report us to the police? They're saying our accounts might be frozen. I can't pay Harry's tuition or take Margaret to her dance lessons. I can't believe you do this to us. Next came a message from Nicholas, and then one from my mother. Anna, what have you done? The police. What have you done came to the house. What will the neighbors think? You've brought shame to this family. Please withdraw the report immediately. Your father says his heart is hurting. What if something happens to him because of you? I replied with only one line. That's your own doing. I don't care. There's no going back to the version of me who allowed herself to be used. The next day, when I returned home from work, Amelia was standing in front of my apartment. Her eyes were red and her makeup was smudged. Anna, she shouted the moment she saw me. Why are you doing this? We're family. Amelia, I said, keeping my distance. If you want to talk, I'll call Ian. That lawyer? She scoffed. He's the one controlling you. You weren't like this before you met him. You've changed care about your family. Caring about family and being exploited are two different things. I said with a trembling voice. Exploited? Amelia raised her voice. All we did was ask for help. Now Nicholas might lose his job because the police contacted his company. What about Harry and Margaret? Have you even thought about them? At that moment, I felt a wave of anger. Have I thought about them? I've always thought about everyone else, but did anyone think about me? When you stole money from my account, did any of you think about me? Amelia took a step back. For the first time, I saw fear in her eyes. You've changed, she murmured. That's right. I have changed because I'm done being used. A few days later, Ted came to visit. I heard everything about the police Ted came to visit investigation. Ted, I didn't have a choice. I know, but everyone's panicking. Especially Amelia. She's scared for the kids. That's their problem. They're Theons who stole from me. Ted let out a deep sigh. Ted, are you taking their side? No, he answered immediately. He stared silently at the floor. Is there anything I can do? Any way I can help? If you really are on my side, tell them what they did was wrong, and that they owe me an apology. I'll try talking to them, he said weakly, but I don't know if they'll listen. After Ted left, Ian wrapped his arm around my shoulder. Are you okay? Yeah, it just hurt seeing Ted caught in the middle. He didn't do anything wrong. He has to choose where he stands. And it's clear who's in there a few days later, right? Ian said gently. A few days later, Ian came to me with important news. Amelia and Nicholas are going to be prosecuted for unauthorized excess and theft. Your parents are under investigation for conspiracy. Are they going top prison? My voice was quiet. In the end, that's up to the judge, Ian explained. But since it's their first offense, there's a high chance the sentence will be suspended. Still, they'll most likely be ordered to repay the stolen money and cover damages. That night, I received a phone call from my father for the first time. Anna, his voice sounded tired. Why are you doing this? The police even conducted a house search. They took my computer. Dad, I'm the victim here. Victim, he said bitterly. You're destroying your own family. Your mother can't sleep. Amelia is hysterical, and Nicholas has been suspended from work. The house is at Amelia is hysterical risk of foreclosure. Is this what you wanted? I took a deep breath. This is the consequence of all your actions. It's not my fault. They're Wassilants on the other end. You're no longer our daughter. You betrayed this family, and you're not welcome back. After the call ended, I collapsed to the floor. I wanted to cry, but no tears came. Instead, a strange sense of release spread through my chest. His words hurt, but at the same time, it felt like the chains that had bound me for years had finally broken. That weekend, Officer Taylor contacted me again. Amelia Walker and Nicholas Walker have been formally charged. As for your parents, due to insufficient evidence, they will not face criminal charges. However, they may still bear civil liability. There will be a preliminary hearing next week. After that, the trial. Anna hesitated for a moment. Date will be scheduled. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. Ms. Moore, have you experienced any pressure or threats from your family? I recalled my father's final words. They've disowned me. That must be difficult, Taylor said sympathetically. But your safety is our top priority. If needed, we can consider a restraining order. I told Ian everything. What my father had said and how I felt cut off from my family. Anna, you're doing the right thing. Ian said, there are consequences to their actions and it's not your fault. But I've lost my family. Real families are the ones who respect you and care about you, Ian said quietly. They didn't respect you. They ignored your boundaries and betrayed your trust. That's not what family does. A few days later, an unfamiliar letter from someone named Marty envelope appeared on my desk. Inside was a letter from someone named Marty Davis. I remembered she was Nicholas's cousin, Amelia's husband's relative. Dear Anna, the letter began. You may not remember me, but I'm Nicholas's cousin. We met a few times at family gatherings. I heard about what you did, and I want to thank you. I was surprised and continued reading. I was in a similar situation. My family kept borrowing money from me and never paid it back. And when I refused, they called me selfish. But hearing that you stood up for yourself gave me courage. I realized I have the right to set boundaries and say no. Thank you for your bravery. Holding the letter to my chest, I felt for the first time that what I had done was right. It wasn't revenge. It was an act. It wasn't revenge of self-pity protection. And it was something that had empowered others like Marty. Over the weekend, Ian said, I want to take you somewhere special just for a change of pace. He drove me to a beautiful lakeside spot outside Seattle. It was sunset, and the lake glowed orange beneath the setting sun. This place is gorgeous, I said in awe. Ian took my hand and led me to a dock by the water where a small table and candles were set. What's all this? I wanted to make today special, he said with a smile. We enjoyed a delicious dinner, and as the stars began to appear, Ian suddenly stood up. "Anna," he said, kneeling before me and pulling a small blue velvet box from his pocket. My heart started to race. "These past few weeks I've seen how strong and brave you are," Ian said. "Seriously. You stood up for yourself. That's not easy. But you did it." He opened the box, revealing a simple but beautiful diamond ring. "Anna Moore, will you marry me? Let's start a new life together, a new family." Tears rolled down my cheeks. They weren't tears of sorrow, but of release and hope. "Yes," I said in a trembling voice. "I'll marry you. I may have lost my blood family, but I was given the chance to create a new one. And this time, it would be a healthy relationship, one built on mutual respect." The investigation period ended and the court date was set. A few days before that, I received an unexpected message. It was from Ted. "Anna," he approached me hesitantly. "Can we talk for a moment?" "Of course. I've been thinking a lot." He began choosing his words carefully. "You're right. Completely right. What they did is inexcusable. I'm going to testify today. On your side." I was speechless with surprise. Ted went on to explain. "I knew that Amelia and Nicholas had been planning this for a while. I even knew they were going to use the wedding as a cover." "Really?" "Yeah," he said, looking down in shame. "But I couldn't stop them. I was scared. Scared it would tear the family apart." I placed a hand on his shoulder. "Ted, this isn't your fault." "No, I'm complicit too," he said, looking me in the eye. "But I can't stay silent anymore. It's time to tell the truth. I'm sure Mom and Dad will disown me too. But that's okay. Doing the right thing matters more." In court, Ted's testimony became the deciding factor. He testified that our parents had also been involved in the plan and the preliminary hearing that Amelia and Nicholas had previously planned similar borrowings multiple times. The day of the preliminary hearing arrived. Amelia and Nicholas appeared with their lawyer. Their faces were stiff, and the looks they gave me were filled with anger. The judge reviewed the evidence and scheduled the official trial date. For my protection, the judge also issued a temporary restraining order against the entire family. As we were leaving the courthouse, I met Amelia's gaze for the first time. What I saw on her face wasn't just anger anymore. It was fear. Meeting Amelia's gaze are the kind that comes when someone begins to understand the gravity of what they've done. Ian placed his hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" "Yes," I nodded. "I'm okay now." That evening, we went to a restaurant in the Seattle suburbs to celebrate our engagement with Ian's parents. They knew about my situation and expressed deep sympathy. "You're part of our family now," Ian's mother Estella said. "Family means taking care of one another and treating each other with respect." Tears welled up in my eyes at her words. It was the moment I truly understood what a real family looked like. As we left the restaurant, Ted was waiting outside. "Ted," I said, surprised, and hugged him. "What are you doing? Meeting Ted here." "I heard from Ian," he said shilly. "Congratulations." "Really?" I looked at Ian. He was smiling. "He's your family. Your true family." "Ted, what will you do now?" I asked with concern. "I'll be okay," he answered confidently. "I'm planning to find a new job in Seattle." "In Seattle?" "Yeah." He nodded. "I want to be close to you as a real family." His words filled my heart with warmth. I hadn't lost building a new family, everything. I still had my brother Ted, and I was beginning to build a new family. A few weeks later, I received another message from Marty Davis. This time it was an email. "Dear Anna, thanks to you, I've started reclaiming my own life. Your courage inspired me to say no to my family. I didn't take legal action like you did, but your story is reaching many people. You helped me realize that we don't have to silently endure exploitation just because it's done in the name of family. After reading her email, I took a deep breath. The knowledge that my actions were giving others strength filled me with warmth. And then the official trial began. Amelia and Nicholas pleaded guilty during the arraignment. Their lawyer requested a sentencing suspended sentence, citing financial hardship and the presence of children. The judge considered all the evidence and mitigating circumstances before delivering the verdict. The defendants are hereby sentenced to 3 years of probation for the crimes of unauthorized access and theft. They are ordered to repay the stolen amount of $8,400 and pay $5,000 in damages for emotional distress. Furthermore, they must comply with a 5-year restraining order prohibiting contact with the victim. As I left the courthouse, I felt unexpectedly clear and calm. This wasn't revenge. It was justice, and it was self-defense. That night, the local news covered the case. Under the title, "The Reality of Local News Coverage Financial Crimes Within Families," my case was introduced anonymously. It became a trigger for raising awareness about financial abuse committed by family members. After the broadcast, messages began appearing in my social media inbox. Strangers shared that they too had suffered in similar situations. "Thank you for your courage. You've given me the strength to stand up." Messages like these poured in. Ian smiled beside me. "Look, Anna, you're becoming a symbol of hope for so many people." 60 days passed after the verdict, and the payment deadline came, and unexpected news went. Then, surprising news arrived. The court's orders had been enforced. Amelia and Nicholas's bank accounts were frozen. Some of their assets were seized to cover the damages. In addition, Nicholas's company terminated his employment. The reason was his conviction for financial crime. According to one of Ian's colleagues, their house was now at risk of foreclosure. Because of the court's enforcement, they could no longer pay the mortgage. The day after the restraining order was issued, more news broke. Nicholas had been officially dismissed by his employer due to the criminal charges. Ian's colleague also told us their house was in danger with their bank accounts frozen. The mortgage could no longer be paid. Apparently, my parents were facing similar circumstances. Hearing all this, Giltian's words briefly flickered in my chest, but I quickly recalled Ian's words. "This is the result of their actions. It's not your fault." At last, I felt like I had reclaimed myself. I could feel my life moving in a new direction, freed from the chains once labeled family. This time, I would build bonds with a true family,